Chapter 19. It was told Joab, Behold, the king weeps and mourns for Absalom. The victory that day was turned into mourning to all the people, for the people heard say that day, The king grieves for his son. The people came by stealth that day into the city, as the people who are ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. The king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, My son Absalom! Absalom, my son! Joab came into the house of the king and said, You have shamed this day the faces of all your servants, who this day have saved your life, and the lives of your sons and of your daughters, and of your wives and of your concubines, in that you love those who hate you, and hate those who love you. For you have declared this day that princes and servants are nothing to you. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and we all had died this day, it had pleased you well. Now therefore arise, go out and speak to your servants, for I swear by the Lord, if you don't go out, there will not stay a man with you this night, and that will be worse to you than all the evil that has happened to you from your youth until now. Then the king arose and sat in the gate. They told all the people, saying, Behold, the king is sitting in the gate. And all the people came before the king. Now Israel had fled every man to his tent. All the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, The king delivered us out of the hand of our enemies, and he saved us out of the hand of the Philistines, and now he is fled out of the land from Absalom. Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore why don't you speak a word of bringing the king back? King David sent to Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, Speak to the elders of Judah, saying, Why are you the last to bring the king back to his house, seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king to bring him to his house? You are my brothers, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then are you the last to bring back the king? Say to Amasa, Aren't you my bone and my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, if you aren't captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. He bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent to the king, saying, Return, and all of your servants with you. So the king returned, and came to the Jordan. Judah came to Gilgal, to go meet the king, to bring the king over the Jordan. Shimei the son of Gera the Benjamite, who was of Bahurim, hurried and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. There were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him, and they went through the Jordan in the presence of the king. There went over a ferry boat to bring over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. Shimei the son of Gera fell down before the king when he was come over the Jordan. He said to the king, Don't let my lord impute iniquity to me. Neither remember that which your servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For your servant does know that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come this day, the first of all the house of Joseph, to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah said, Shall Shimei not be put to death for this? Because he cursed the Lord's anointed. David said, What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should this day be adversaries to me? Shall there be any man put to death this day in Israel? For don't I know that I am once again king this day over Israel? The king said to Shimei, You shall not die. The king swore to him. Mephibosheth the son of Saul came down to meet the king, and he had neither dressed his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes, from the day the king departed until the day he came home in peace. It happened, when he was come to Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said to him, Why didn't you go with me, Mephibosheth? He answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I will saddle a donkey, that I may ride thereon and go with the king, because your servant is lame. He has slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is as an angel of God. Do therefore what is good in your eyes. For all my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king, yet you set your servant among those who ate at your own table. What right therefore have I yet that I should cry any more to the king? The king said to him, Why speak any more of your matters? I say, You and Ziba divide the land. Mephibosheth said to the king, Yes, let him take all, because my lord the king is come in peace to his own house. Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim, and he went over the Jordan with the king, to conduct him over the Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, even 80 years old, and he had provided the king with sustenance while he lay at Mahanaim, for he was a very great man. The king said to Barzillai, Come over with me, and I will sustain you with me in Jerusalem. Barzillai said to the king, How many are the days of the years of my life, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old. Can I discern between the good and the bad? Can your servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women? Why then should your servant be yet a burden to my lord the king? Your servant would but just go over the Jordan with the king, and why should the king recompense me with such a great reward? Please let your servant turn back again, that I may die in my own city, by the grave of my father and my mother. But behold, your servant Chimham, let him go over with my lord the king, and do to him what shall seem good to you. The king answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good to you, and whatever you shall require of me, that I will do for you. All the people went over the Jordan, and the king went over, and the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own place. So the king went over to Gilgal, and Chimham went over with him, and all the people of Judah brought the king over, and also half the people of Israel. Behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said to the king, Why have our brothers, the men of Judah, stolen you away, and brought the king and his household over the Jordan, and all David's men with him? All the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, Because the king is a close relative to us. Why then are you angry about this matter? Have we eaten it all at the king's cost, or has he given us any gift? The men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 parts in the king, and we also have more right in David than you. Why then did you despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? The words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel.